Okay guys, in this video we're going to be taking a look at the annotations. So it can be found over here on this menu on the left, and we've got another menu up here where we can scroll through the different annotations we've got. So they kind of do different stuff. You've also got this drop down here where you can select through different kind of themes. If you have it on all, it'll basically show them all, and then same up here. So we'll go through these one by one. I'll just pick one out of these just so you can see they all pretty much work in the same way. As you can see, it's like arrows, speech bubbles, things like that. Just grab one and just bring it down onto the timeline here, and I'm just going to move the playhead along a little bit like that. So anytime you're editing anything, you want to make sure when it's on the timeline you actually click it like that. That will bring up these properties over here. Now it may be that it's minimized like that, or you might need to click it like that to open it, and depending on what it is you're actually looking at the properties for will depend on what options you have up here. So you can see we got a different menu up here which is showing us different things and different controls over that as well. So I'll show you very basically now. To edit the text in here, you just need to double click in there so your cursor goes in there. So put some text, and you can see as I type more in there it will actually reduce in size, so it will make it as big as it can depending on the size of the font that we've got over here. So we can change the size right here, can make it bigger. As I make it much bigger and bigger, it's actually increasing the size of the whole arrow. You can use these handles here to grab. Now when you use these handles, if you grab the corner there, it resizes it in proportion. If we grab one of these middle ones, it will stretch it and move it. So all of these callouts here will work in the same way. It's just different different shapes and sizes essentially. So you can change the actual font as well. Just a little moment there. We can change the actual font, and there's loads of fonts in here. I think these are all Google fonts, and then well, in fact some of these fonts are going to be fonts that I've got installed on my computer through Photoshop. So some of them you'll get the bold option, some of them you won't. You can underline it, you can strike through it as well like that. We can change the color of the arrow here, okay, or the color of the text, sorry. And we can use this dropper as well. If you want to match a color from on the canvas, you can just pick that dropper like that. Let's just put it back to white. The text alignment, that's pretty straightforward. The spacing, we'll put space in between your text, or the vertical spacing will increase and decrease the space between the lines there like that. Here, this section here, this is where we'll change the color of the arrow. So we can change the color of the arrow, you can change the opacity. Best thing to do is really just have a little test, you know, just play around with it. You can't really go wrong. You can put a stroke on it or an outline like that, make it bigger or smaller. You can make the opacity of the outline, so it should be relatively straightforward. There's nothing too tricky going on. Like I said, the best thing you can do is just mess around with it and just play with these settings, and as long as you know where they are, this will increase everything, decrease everything. Rotation there, so we can spin this around and move it. So you've got different axes there, and you can spin it around like that. And later on, when we do some more in-depth editing, I'll show you how you can make these things move around as well. I quite like the way it actually moves the text around, so you can always read it. And then you got this one here. You can also do that by grabbing this handle here, and you can move it around this way as well. And you can also type in here as well if you want to get it really precise, because sometimes what will happen when you're trying to move these around is it will kind of snap it, like, I don't know if it will do it here. Yeah, it kind of snaps that way. You see that big yellow line going through. So sometimes if you want to get it just up a little bit, it can be tricky because it keeps snapping back, so you can't get it quite right. So you may sometimes just want to type it in like that, then press enter or return, and then if you use the minus sign here, press enter, it will go back the other way, and then you can reset it back to how it should be by clicking those reset buttons there. Position is where it is on the canvas. So you see as I'm moving it around, this position ones here are changing, and you can use these arrows here, and again you could type in as well if you want to recenter it. Press enter there, and let's recenter it there, and press enter there. Chances are you're not going to use that much, but just so you know where it is. And then we can reset everything here, we can reset everything here, and we haven't changed anything there. So that's those. That's the first one there, call outs these are called. So next we got arrows and lines and stuff. So these are pretty straightforward. Let's just drag one down onto the timeline. Make sure we select it so we know we're editing it. You can grab it, drag it around. You can use these handles to stretch it, move it around like that. And then over here we've got the options. Just remember, if you don't see them, then you just need to press that properties button there. You can change the line style here if you want it changed to different things like that. Oh, in fact, yeah, this is one end of it. So you can see I can put the arrow on that end over there, and then I could take it off of that end there as well. Thickness, pretty straightforward. Color, change it to purple. So that's those. They are all very basic, very straightforward. Next one is shapes. Shapes can be good for if you want to like put a chunk of color in the background, or maybe you want to put a chunk of color down here like this, and then you can put some text over the top of that like that, and that will just kind of make you a quick and easy dirty banner like that. Again, you've got your properties over here, so just go through, you can change the shape of it, you can change the color, you know, it's thickness. Oh, that's for the outline there, so we can put an outline on like that. That looks quite nice. Let's just big up the thickness a little bit like that. So you can make quick and easy banners. Again, just go through, try these out, they're very straightforward. Now blur and highlight. Now I'm just going to get rid of these off the timeline by deleting. Don't worry too much, like I say, we're going to go in depth on the editing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in a screen recording that I did of the UI tour, and we'll go through screen recordings and stuff. So that was a Camtasia file that I just dropped in, but if you want to know more about screen recording, check out the screen recording video. So what I'm going to do here is show you these blur ones. So these are all kind of slightly different. So I'm going to drag one in. It always has to be on top of whatever you're trying to blur out or do. So because I'm highlighted, I can see it's here, but I just need to drag it over here, and you can see essentially what it's doing is just highlighting this area green. Now because it's a dark background, it's probably not the best video to use, but if this was, you know, on a lighter background, then as you're talking about stuff, you know, as we're coming along here talking, I might be talking about this area here, and then as I talk, it's going to highlight it, so it makes it a little bit more clear for your viewers. These are all pretty similar. I'll just quickly show you, and again, each of these has properties over here, so you can explore these properties, changing colors and stuff like that. This one here darkens out the rest of the screen and makes the whatever area you want to be shown up, so it will focus on a certain area. You can change that around, in fact, so you can darken the area out and make the rest of the area light. Let's just see what happens when we change the color. Oh yeah, so we'll keep that at black. So again, just go through those settings when you want to use one of these. This one I think is just straightforward different color, so they just put pre-made different colors which you can change over here in the properties anyway. Let's just try this one. Again, just a different color. So these ones are the highlight ones. The green and the purple are just different colors which you can change anyway on the properties, and this one will darken out the rest of the screen and highlight a certain area or make a certain area clear. So I'm just going to clear these from the timeline. Here we got blur ones. Now these are pretty cool. This here again would be good for focusing on a certain area, so you can blur out the rest of the screen, help people focus on what exactly is you're talking about. here is, what is this, the pixelated one? Oh, this one will blur out the other way around, so it's basically inverted compared to the other one. This is particularly good if you want to cover up like sensitive details, so you might be showing something where you got customer emails or passwords or something like that, so you can blur that out and hide things. And then I think the last one is just like a really pixelated version of that one. Yeah, this is just like super pixelated. So again, you've got the properties over here, which are very similar to the last ones I showed you. Like I say, each thing is slightly different depending on what it is. But I'll just quickly show you down here on the timeline. Of course, you can change the shape and the size from where it is. But on the timeline, like I say, we'll look at it more in depth. But on the timeline, you can just grab the end and drag and move. So this will be the amount of time that it's shown on the timeline. So as I drag, you can see the time here, 38 seconds, 43, and then boom, it clears like that. Okay, so when we drag these down, as with any of these things here, we can just drag left and right, and that's going to be the duration that it's shown, or the amount of time that it appears on the screen for before it goes. Okay, that's the blurs. These ones are quite cool as well. These ones like draw themselves, so sketch motion. As you can see, if we hover, it will show us. So let's drag one of these down onto the timeline. So, oops, grabbed the wrong bit there. So we can move them around. Same with anything on this timeline here. You can easily grab the corners to change the size. We can spin, rotate, whatever. But with these ones, if I actually let it play, what I'm going to do is just mute the audio on this track so you don't hear me talking. But you see this, and let's just back up a little tiny bit more. So there you go. You see it draws and then it fades away. So that fade down here, this is a little transition which we'll look at in a later video, but it's already placed in there for you. Over here, oops, over here we got our properties. Highlight it, scale, size, opacity, and then we should have the speed of the drawing, draw time. There we go. So let's make it take a little bit longer to draw. So just slowed down the speed of it actually drawing there. So I don't know when you'd ever use a face like that, but you might be doing tutorials, and the arrows are pretty good, because as you're talking it might highlight something that you're talking about over there. Let's just drag this one last one down here as well. So you might say over there is something. So that's the arrows. Last one, keystroke call out. What this is when you're doing screen recordings, if you want it to what it will do when you do shortcuts on the keyboard, it will bring up and show those shortcuts. So it's just easier for your viewers to see what buttons you're pressing when you do shortcuts, and you can show how long they're shown as well. Again, you got a few different, these here where you change it to traditional, outline and black. These basically are just changing through these here. So you got, I think this one's traditional, this one must be outline, black, classic or something, transparent, I don't know. These here basically. Okay, draw background, actually not sure what that is, don't know, but you can also make it show the words. So because I'm on Mac here, it's actually saying command. If we were on Windows, it would say Control A. You can change the size, you can change the position if you want it over here in the corner. It's nice to have it down here at the bottom, people notice it there if you ever do use those. So that is annotations. The best thing you can do is go through them, drag them down onto the timeline, select them, hit properties, and then just run through the different options you got, and you'll pick it up really easy and really quickly. Okay, thanks guys, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye for now.
Thanks for watching the video. To watch the next one, click right here. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button right here.